we should have now we should have audio. Oh, that's a shame. I did all that talking. Uh, okay, nothing from you. Okay, yep, it was my mic. It was turned off. I again had another update with OBS, and apparently that throws a lot of things off that I didn't realize that. So, let's see. Stephanie says, "Hey Brian, I'm sorry I can't hear you." Yeah, that was going around. That was everybody. Man, that's a bummer. I had said already so much within that first minute or two. Um, all right. Renee said, "Suck intro." Yeah, wasn't the best, was it? Um, I've heard better. Tom says, "Heard the opening music, but nothing from you." Yes, yes. Well, let's move all beyond that, shall we? So Roger says, "Good evening, good evening, Roger." Tom says, "Eureka! We did it! By golly, brilliant!" Stephanie says, "Now I can hear you. All right." Brian says, "I can hear you now." John says, "Hey, John! Hey, John just had a birthday yesterday, so happy birthday to John." John says, "It's another Tuesday night and time for the free of polycarbons and 100% gluten-free. This is Crozak the Grand, and it's time for Chiller Night Chat. And here's what you need. The host and star of the show, Brian Oak. Thank you very much. Speaking of gluten-free, how was your how was your birthday? I hope it wasn't gluten-free. I hope you had some good fun stuff to eat, birthday cake and ice cream and all the good stuff. So, what I was saying earlier, before I realized I didn't have a mic capabilities, anyways. One of the things I'm going to be adding tonight, I'll be talking about is I'm just going to try this. I drudged up a couple monster memorabilia, some toys of my youth, and I was going to throw those on here and see if any of you have something that you remember out of your youth that you'd like to chat about. I'll do that here in a little bit. I'll be putting up the schedule here. Again, John's birthday yesterday. I hope everybody wishes John a happy birthday. John's on Facebook. For those on YouTube, you won't be able to see that. So, all right. So the schedule is for this Saturday, February 25th, on Stream TV at 9 p.m. The feature movie is The Brain That Wouldn't Die. It's at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. At 10:45, Terror Creatures from the Grave. At 12:40, Indestructible Man. At 2:15 in the morning, The Devil Bat. So, pretty good lineup there. All right, you can watch that 9 o'clock, beginning at 9 o'clock Eastern Time on Stream TV. You can see that in the upper right, streammedia.tv, streammedia.tv. Go there and you can select Watch Live, and that will take you to the ChillerNight programming. So, all right. Oh, I wanted to mention next Tuesday, there will be no ChillerNight Live, unfortunately. I will not be available at this time of the evening to do the show. So, no ChillerNight Live. We got anything in our systems. Let's get it out tonight. It's this just I don't know what that means, but let's just we'll enjoy tonight. We'll have a good night, and then I should be back the week after that. So how's everybody doing tonight? Are you still on chat with me? Are you still on chat with me? I hope I didn't lose anybody here. Renee says, "Totally awesome metal intro music." All right. Got some some strange little icons there. All right. All righty. Well, I appreciate that. Appreciate the yeah. That is some cool music there. All right, now Tom says, "Of course we're here. We're a captive audience." I was beginning to think y'all took off. Um, Renee says, "Gonna see Cocaine Bear Thursday, 5 p.m. That looks interesting, to say the least." AMC Lowe's Mitran Movie Theater Cineplex. Okay, let me know how that is. That's Cocaine Bear. All right. um, Someone untie me, Tom says. We're captive audience. Ah! Renee says, "Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff." Yes, he he certainly was. Wasn't he in the very first um, WrestleMania? If I remember right, wasn't that Paul Orndorff, Mr. Wonderful, Rowdy Roddy Piper against Hulk Hogan and Mr. T? If memory serves me right, I think that was the first Texas Tornado Kevin Von Erich. Okay. We've been talking about wrestling over the last couple of weeks. I actually wore my Dark Horse Championship Wrestling t-shirt for tonight. So this was my organization, DCW. All right, now I mentioned a little bit ago how I was just going to put up a couple of these. Oh, Stephanie says, "I just want to say my very own motto, if anyone asks. If it involves pizza, popcorn, couch, and horror movies, I'm in." Ah, you have come to the right place here, Stephanie. What a combination. What a perfect. I have so many great memories growing up watching Chiller Theater out of Pittsburgh. And of course, Chilly Billy was the host of that, Bill Cardell, and who was the voice of wrestling. That was his nickname because he was very famous in back in the day with studio wrestling. But I used to watch it every Saturday night. Chiller Theater. I didn't even know that there were other horror hosts when I was growing up. I didn't know that. I just thought, but that was a big deal. Just having like the pizza and the treats and just watching the old scary movies. And that was a family thing. My family would all gather around to watch that. So Renee says, "Tommy Wildfire Rich." I definitely remember Wildfire. John says, "I'm still bummed a bit about the loss of movie stars Raquel Welch, Stella Stevens, and the loss of Gerald Fried, who composed the music for the original Star Trek series, the fight music for Time Amok, and the Doomsday Machine." Yeah, I wasn't sure how to pronounce that, his last name there. But yeah, I actually out of the two of the very good episodes, I like the Doomsday Machine. I think I kind of have seen that one probably more. I enjoy that one. That's one of my favorite out of the old original series. Um, Renee says Michael Hayes. Yeah, I am a big Trekkie, but believe it or not, with the original series. I love the original Star Trek. I don't talk about it as much as Star Wars, I guess, because Star Wars, I'm a huge mega Star Wars fan. But yeah, I just I have all the original series on DVD um, and the animated series. Remember that? Remember the animated series? They actually brought the actors back. Well, not all of them, but they brought most of the actors back to voice their characters in the animated series. So I thought that was pretty cool. I used to watch that when I was a kid. Shawn Michaels, Tony the World Atlas. Renee is saying these different wrestlers here. Victor says, "Hi, Brian. Any thoughts on the Exorcist reboot?" I didn't hear that they were doing an Exorcist reboot. I don't know. This is something yet to come out. I take it. I didn't know that they were doing it, but I don't know. I don't even see the point of something like that. I think that's a lightning in the bottle one time. And then now to watch that movie now, today's audiences it wouldn't shock them, like it would back in 1973 or whenever that came out. I believe it was 73. I I don't know what more would they do at that point. What would they do to make it a remake that would uh, make that interesting? I don't know. I suppose if there's an audience for it, I always kind of, that's my little disclaimer. If people want to watch it, then knock yourselves out. But um, I don't know that I would really care to even see that. I don't know. Um, I don't know. What do you guys think? Now I'm kind of curious because I was not even aware that they were going to do an Exorcist reboot. Renee says 1,000 years BC. The Junkyard Dog. Yeah, you're naming some really old ones here. Yeah, old school stuff. 1 million years BC, Renee says. Renee says Linda Blair was a die-hard fan of Black Sabbath and followed them during the 1977 to 79 Never Say Die tours backstage pass. I met Linda Blair back it was back in 2001 in Cleveland. It was at a convention in Cleveland, and I got my picture with her, but I'd have to dig it up somewhere. I don't have that, right here to show you. I have to look for it. But yeah, she seemed really nice. She's pretty small. She's actually pretty petite, um, but very nice lady. Very nice. All right. I met her at the same convention I met David Carradine. Star of Kung Fu and Kill Kill Bill and plethora of other movies and stuff that probably. Uh, but he was kind of strange because this is back in 2001, and I kind of think he might have been um, a little tipsy or maybe under some kind of influence because he was like he stood up to get it to for me to get a picture taken with him, and he was really like I was doing a number, he was leaning on me pretty good there. But Renee says wow, whoa, wow, you met Linda Blair, totally rad. Yeah, yes, I did. Tom says, Carradine, his dad was in more classic horror films than just about anyone. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Not only old Universal stuff but just like The Howling and just it's like so many. So many. Yeah. Just about anyone. I think you're right. Renee says, snatch the pebble from my hand, grasshopper. Time for you to leave. Yes. Yes, when you can snatch the pebble from my hand. SBC says, hello, everyone. Hey, SBC. Thanks for joining us tonight. One of the things that I wanted to do here tonight was just bring this up because you guys will sometimes throw old movies at me or old series at me, and we'll kind of get to talking. And I just figured, I'm going to try. I'm going to just throw this topic up. We don't. But I was thinking about this stuff earlier. I wanted to mention this stuff earlier, but here's something that I had as a kid. Take a trip down Monster Lane instead of Memory Lane. Monster Toys of My Youth. This was one that I loved when I was a kid. I got this thing called Mighty Men and Monster Makers, and what it was you see it right there in the picture. You put these little template plates underneath a sheet of paper, and you have I don't know, a little thing of wax or something that you 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 put this together. You assembled some kind of creature or superhero, and mighty men or monster maker. So, and I don't know, I just had a lot of fun with that thing as a kid. I remember, seeing how many combinations I could come up with. Um, so that was pretty cool. I don't know if you can see that very well, but that was a big deal to me. I love that. I got that for a Christmas one year. I don't know how little I was. I don't even know. Don't know what year that came out. I was pretty little, but another one. Now this came out a long, long time ago. This was one of those Keller forms. I don't know if you can see that well. Castle Dracula, and that thing was just. I don't know. Now that was really really old. Um, that could have even been not in the '60s. I wouldn't have remembered anything in the '60s. But it early '70s, very early '70s. I'm sure with this thing here. I used to have all kinds of these Keller forms of superheroes and monsters, and Planet of the Apes. Um, yeah, put that right there. Does this jar anybody's memory? Anything? Or do you have your own? Renee says Bruce Lee was discriminated against the role of Kung Fu. Yeah, yeah, he was supposed to get that. At least that's what I've I've read about that, and I've also seen that they covered that in that movie. I think it was called Dragon: The Story of Bruce Lee, which went to David Carradine, and he was racist with the makeup, slanted eyes, and fake accent. All Bruce got was Kato Green Hornet. Yeah, I was just watching an episode of The Green Hornet last night, actually. But yeah, yeah, Bruce was supposed to get that, and then out of nowhere, because they didn't know that if a Western audience would be captivated enough watching a Chinese actor. So yeah, so he really got the short end of the stick there because that was supposed to go to him. It went to David Carradine. So Renee's got some little kung fu ninja guys. Okay. Interesting. I love old toys, SBC says. Yes. Tom says, apparently that Castle Dracula is from 76. Really? 76? Huh. I wouldn't have thought that. I would have thought it was earlier because I just, I wouldn't have thought that. How about the Mighty Men and Monster Maker? Does it, let's see if it says here. Brad says, it's ChillerNight Live with Brian Hogue. Hey, Brad! Starring Brian Hogue. Now, here's Brian. What's on this Saturday on Stream TV? Well, I will pull that up in just a few shakes of the werewolf's tail. I want to check this out. Tom says Castle Dracula was 1976. Mighty Men and Monster Maker. Okay. Oh, that says 78. Okay. 78? 78. All right, I would have been 10. I would have been 10 then when this came out. And 8. Still pretty young. I kind of remembered that I was younger, but I guess I was 8 when the other one came out. So, all right. Richard said I had that Mighty Men and Monster Maker. Yeah, Tom says I'm finding 78. Yep, that's it. I had some great Christmases as a kid. My parents always knew what to get. They knew I loved this stuff. Superheroes, Star Wars. When Star Wars did come around, but before that it was always, cowboys, GI Joe, Lone Ranger, monsters, Planet of the Apes. I guess that's pretty typical boy stuff. And then we were in every sport that our area had. So I had a weird balance. I really did. I think it was a pretty healthy balance of I loved sports. I loved being in anything I could be in, and I loved my geeky nerdy monster and superhero stuff. So horror movies. Stephanie says 1978 was the year Halloween was released in theaters. Yeah, yeah, that's something, isn't it? Yeah, I wouldn't have. That's just that kind of. It seems so long ago that now that I'm I'm actually looking at that, looking at your comment. Yeah, and equating it with this, thinking that that's when it came out when I was a little kid playing with this stuff. Jody Q says, "Good evening, Brian. I'm late. Hey, Jody Q, thank you for joining us tonight." Renee says, 1976, original 1976. Let me put down the other one. I think that's what Tom said from 76. Um, Original Ghostbusters Kids Saturday live action television series starring Tracy the Gorilla and Larry Stoich and Forrest Tucker from F Troop. Yeah, and Forrest Tucker from the Trollenberg Terror, also known as the Crawling Eye, and a little bit bigger roles he's played, like, well, F Troop he's known for, but also starred alongside John Wayne in The Sands of Iwo Jima, so he was certainly known back in the day. Richard said, Planet of the Apes toys. Ah, I had all that stuff. I had the Forbidden Zone and all the Mego um, Planet of the Ape figures. PBR says, PBR Street Gang says, hey, hey, hey. Hey, PBR Street Gang. Also, I had the bubblegum cards of the Planet of the Apes and a lunchbox. So I used to love the Planet of the Apes. Richard Cook said, I had a Lone Ranger and his Hours toys. I had Lone Ranger and his Hours. His horse? His horse? Yeah, I ordered those. I ordered those probably about 3 weeks ago because I was looking for. I've been wanting to get those for my collection. I want to have them in a display in my office somewhere. They're still kind of boxed up. Um, I looked at them, but I still have them in the box. But I'd like to get those set out because those are some of my earliest toys that I can kind of remember. I remember playing with those and the old gosh, just so many cowboy and Indian toys growing up. I'm trying to remember what those figures were called. They had like um, Wild Bill Hickok or something. I don't know if I'm remembering this right. Geronimo and General Custer. Uh, Jody Q says Aurora Monster Scenes models. Oh yeah, yeah, those were really cool. Take that down. I had Dracula. I don't remember if I had any other ones. As much as I love those things, I had a Planet of the Apes model. I had Dracula. Um, I don't remember if I had any more. But oh, Brad says, "What's on Saturday, Brian?" That's right. Something shiny distracted me. All right, we'll put the schedule back up. We had it up earlier, but at 9 o'clock this Saturday, February 25th, at 9 o'clock, The Brain That Wouldn't Die. At 10:45, Terror Creatures from the Grave, and at 12:40, Indestructible Man, and that, of course, is with Lon Chaney Jr. And 2:15 in the morning, The Devil Bat with Bela Lugosi. So there you have it. There's that schedule. All right. John says, and speaking of horror movie hosts, Boston had a series called Phantasmic Features, which ran from 63 to 67, which was hosted by Feep. Feep was a little space being stuck on Earth. In 2016, he was inducted into the Horror Host Hall of Fame. Really, what was he? Was he somebody in a costume or a puppet? What do you remember what he was? Tom says, sadly, Larry Storch died last year. He was 99 years old. Wow. Wow, that was a full life, you know? Not many make it that old. Renee says, 1976 Lost Saucer Kids Saturday live-action television series starring Jim Nabors and Ruth Buzzy. I don't remember that. Really. Jim Nabors from Gomer Pyle. Interesting. Renee says 1975 Arc 2. I do remember that one. And then 1977 Space Academy. Richard Cook says, what year was Salem's Lot on TV? That's a good question. Was that 70, 77, 78 maybe? I don't know. I do remember watching that on TV. It was a couple nights worth, or maybe one or 2 or 3 nights, if I remember right. But it was a miniseries on TV, and I remember all the kids talking about that at school, including me. Like, I thought those scenes were just so creepy. Scary as a kid watching that. Um, Renee says 1977 Space Sentinels. Rich Cook says horse. Right, with that's what I figured you meant with the Lone Ranger and his horse. I got the Lone Ranger, Tonto, Scout, and Silver. So I got all four of them. I saw somebody was selling them online, and I thought I got it. And they were in excellent. They are in excellent condition. They are perfect. They have the only thing missing on the Lone Ranger of all things was his mask. But I can actually either order that or just make one myself. I'll probably order it just so I have the actual, um, accessory from the toy line. But let's see. Renee says 1978, 79, Jason Star Command. I remember that. Wasn't Sid Haig on that one? Remember Sid Haig from Spider Baby, or just, I mean, take your pick. He's been in a lot of the several of the Rob Zombie movies. Is that the one where he played the bad guy? I think he had like an eye patch or a laser eye or something. Brad says, nice Dark Horse Championship Wrestling t-shirt, Brian. Thank you, Brad. Thank you very much. Yes, those were the days. Renee says, Far Out Space Nuts. Wow, you got a lot of these old titles. Richard says, Lincoln Logs Fort. I remember having some Lincoln Logs in my day. John says, how many remember Mattel Man in Space with Major Matt Mason? Oh, I don't remember that one. I don't remember that one. Renee says, Electra Woman and Dyna Girl. I do remember that. Victor says, the rebooted Exorcist trailer is on YouTube. Oh, okay. Also, the new Evil Dead Rise looks great, and Stephen King's The Boogeyman is preparing for release. Interesting. Now, you say the Exorcist trailers on YouTube? What about, I wonder if the new Evil Dead and the Boogeyman trailers are on YouTube. Anybody know that? Have anybody seen those trailers other than Victor? You said that. Well, you say it's on YouTube. What do you think of it? Does it look pretty good? Joe DeQ says Vampira, Dr. Deadly, The Victim, Frankenstein. Love those. Ah, yes. Guys are really bringing back, drudging up a lot of memories. Some of these I've not heard of, about being honest with, but some of them I have, and it takes me right back to my childhood. PBR Street Gang. I love The Brain That Wouldn't Die. It's one of my favorites. Yeah, it is pretty good. Very entertaining movie. Richard says, how about, do you recall Land of the Lost? Oh, yeah, I remember that. Marshall, Will, and Holly. Yeah, and they ended up in the Land of the Lost, of course, with Chaka and the Slee Stacks. I remember that. I used to watch that when I was a kid. Victor says, I have all the Aurora Monster model kit resin reissues, including the Monster Hot Rod collection. Cool. I was actually, Richard says, Sid Haig was creepy. Yeah. I'm pretty sure he was in that Jason and the Argonauts. Yeah, I would like to. I'm thinking about, like, okay, like, well, I got my store. Of course, I'm gonna do a shameless plug for my store at the mall that has the uh, ChillerNight Escape experience, and we'll be having Jack Shadow's House of Terror, which will be a year-round haunted attraction. Be open on the weekend nights. So, but in that, I would like to have a gift shop where I thought it would be kind of neat to sell some of these old, maybe get some of these old collectibles and just to see how they sell. I think that'd be kind of neat. Brad says, how's the chiller store coming along? And with the other projects and all that, the store's not coming along really yet, because I got to get all the other stuff done, and then I'll figure out how to do the store thing. I'm kind of new at the store thing, so I don't really know like how to get the merchandise and all this and that yet, but I will be looking into that. But I'd like to have that up and running by the time October comes. You know, I'd like that store up and running by then, which is very possible because I'll be starting Jack Shadow's House of Terror. Like, well, you know, the witch. Where's it at? The Witching Hour. That's the one I started construction yesterday on that. And I wanted to start it earlier, but my shoulder just wasn't having it. And then I started that yesterday, and then I plan on starting Jack Shadow's House of Terror in April. Now, with that stuff coming along like it is, and I'll have a third escape room, but I don't want to disclose that one just yet. That one, I won't get to it until after Halloween. but uh, but hopefully, if I get the haunt done early enough, then my intent is to get the gift shop up and running before I open up the haunted house. Um, PBR Street Gang says UFO was a great sci-fi series. I vaguely remember that one. I just vaguely remember that one. And that's even if I'm remembering the right one. Stephanie says, I still have Lincoln Logs. Oh, okay. Cool. You know, a well-imagined, healthy imagination child can just sit and play with those things for hours on end. Tom says, I think the Aurora Dracula was glow in the dark. It could be. I don't remember. That's very possible. I don't remember. Yeah, I don't know. Something about that seems familiar. Jody Q says UFO Jerry Anderson series per PBR. Oh, he's saying PBR. Oh, that might be the one. I wouldn't be able to tell you who played in it. I just vaguely remember it. PBR Street Gang says there is a new Evil Dead. It sounded like Victor said that there was one coming out. Evil Dead Rise would be the name of it, I guess. So I guess that'd be cool. Jody Cool, very cool series. PBR says. Jody Q says, so was Godzilla and the Creature from Black Lagoon. So was Godzilla and the Creature from Black Lagoon, Tom. Yeah, those were cool. I had a bunch of those monsters, the Universal monsters, as the jigglers. You know, the little rubber characters. I've shown the Frankenstein on here. I actually have that right in the drawer there. But I see things like that online, and it's like, man, that brings back such feelings like when I was a kid that I gotta get them. You know, like the Lone Ranger stuff and the Frankenstein. I just love those things as my collectibles in my office. My intent is someday to display them and not just stick them in drawers. But Renee says, so Holly is always a guest host interview person on Creature Features Live with Vincent Van Dahl, Tangella, and Livingston. Holly from Land of the Lost, the little girl who played Holly, is that right? Is that who you're talking about? Kathy Coleman. Richard says, you need Jack Shadow shirts. I do. I definitely do, yeah. I want to have stuff that has my logos and stuff, like my logos. First time I'm gonna be displaying my logos now. You know, ChillerNight Escape Experience, Jack Shadow's House of Terror, and of course, why we even got together in the first place, ChillerNight Theater on the very bottom there, because. Just because. I mean, why wouldn't I? It's a ChillerNight live show. I'm going to talk about all things that I have as well. Keeping me busy, keeping me off the streets for the most part. Jody Q says, I have it on DVD. Love it. Remember when it came out on TV originally? God, I am old. Which one? It's called Evil Dead Rise. The trailer is on YouTube. Okay, it is on YouTube. Okay. Renee says, unfortunately, she's older now and her voice sounds like she's smoking 3 packs a day. Very rough voice. Very, very well could be. Troy says, good evening from warm Florida. Hey, my brother Troy in Florida. Well, good evening. Very, very, yeah, I can't really complain that much about things in Pennsylvania. Um, it's not warm, not today it's not, but it's certainly not like it's usual wintry weather conditions. So we're having a pretty decent winter. I can't complain. I can't complain. But it's definitely not Florida. Jody Q says, PBR hate autocorrect. SBC says, I didn't know there was a new Evil Dead. I had the original one on VHS. Okay. Which is really hard to get because the film was banned here. Was that in Germany? Were you in Germany? Um, if I'm remembering your location right. Um, really, it was banned there, huh? Brad says, we recently have to look up in the sky, UFOs and Chinese weather balloons, LOL. Yeah, right. A lot of stuff going on up there. Next we'll see Rodan and who knows. Banned where, SB? Germany, SBC says. I thought so. I thought I remember that. Jody Q says, Ed Bishop, Wanda Venham? Live action UFO, awesome. Is that the series you're talking about? Like I said, I'm aware of there was a series called that, but I don't know if I actually have accurate memories of that. Like I don't know if I'm remembering that one or another one. There was another one that used to come out. I thought it was on like Sunday nights or something, and they would start out with, you know, this thing, Ezekiel saw the wheel, and comparing that and saying that the the reference to the Bible and saying that could have been a UFO, comparing that. I remember that was kind of how the show opened. I mean, that was one of the things out of the show opening. And now that I think about it, I don't think that was UFO. I think that might have been something else. Victor said SBC. Yes, it was due for release. It's due for release pretty soon, the new one. Okay. Autumn says, hi, Brian. I'm having bad luck lately with the Pens games. Oh, no. well, thanks for joining us. Well, you can have good luck here with ChillerNight Live. So there you go. Forget about those Pens for at least another 21 minutes. So Troy says, it was nice visiting this past weekend and seeing the escape room. Can't wait to see you add on to it with the next escape room in the haunt. Yeah, that was nice having you up and showing you around there. And I did start construction, the actual construction. Got quite a bit done yesterday. I had yesterday off, so I went up there and bought some more lumber, and just worked away on it. Got quite a bit done. I'm pretty happy with that. And then tomorrow night, I already have it figured out what the next section is I'll be building. So yeah, that was fun. Glad you got to see it. And I hope you get to see the next escape room, and I really hope you get to see Jack Shadow's House of Terror. So time will tell. Joe Expo says, I'm a huge Bruce Campbell fan. I wonder if he'll have a guest appearance. Yeah, you would almost think, I guess depending on the tone of the show, I can't imagine them taking it too overly seriously. You would think that they would do a little bit of a, put Bruce Campbell in there. Joe DQ says, yes, series about 1970 UFO. PBR Street Gang says, question for you, Brian. What's your favorite scary movie of all time? That's such a hard one. That's such a tough one. That really is. Because the kid in me, the truest, the conservative, traditionalist, I guess, movie monster viewer and lover would say The Bride of Frankenstein, which is one of my favorites. I'm gonna make it a little easier on me and give you a few of mine that I absolutely love. Okay, one is The Bride of Frankenstein. And the reason I have different categories is it's so hard for me to make that definitive my favorite, but I can tell you, like, Bride of Frankenstein, Curse of the Werewolf, Hammer movie, starring Oliver Reed, and another one, John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness. I love that movie. I think it's so underrated. I don't know. To me, it's just got a such a dark, foreboding. Like, I don't know if I enjoy watching it right now with all the real world dark forebodingness going on. But yeah, that movie, and then I don't know. I'm gonna say those three are the first to come to mind because I've mentioned those before. Those are kind of my go-to movies, the Halloween ones. Oh, and Halloween Part 6. I always bring that one up too. Around Halloween, that wouldn't be my favorite one to watch tonight in February, but around Halloween, that's one of my favorites. So there you got four, and out of the four, which is my favorite? I I couldn't tell you. I really couldn't. I don't know. That's the best answer I can give you. Those four. Joe Expo says The Invaders. The Invaders? Don't remember that one. I remember the comic The Invaders. I don't think that's what you're talking about, though. Jody Q says cover for UFO magazine was a film studio in England. Huh? Cover for UFO organization. Where do I? It was a film studio in England. Oh yeah. PBR says, how about chat? Favorite scary movie of all time. All right, you guys tell me. That's always a good one. I mean, you can't go wrong with a question like that with a group like this, in a show dedicated to that type of thing. So lay it on me. Lay it on me. Share with each other or myself. What's your favorite movies? Let's hear some of them. Richard says, could you do a walkthrough video of the escape room for people who aren't in your state like me? I would like to. The only problem is with an escape room, unlike a haunted house, and even a haunted house, I like to be kind of secretive about that. But the escape room is really hard to do because if I show too much, uh, basically what you see in the commercial is all that I really like to show on the escape room. But the witch one coming up, you'll see pretty much the same thing, like the entryway to it, like the facade to it. Like, well, hey, I'm gonna play this, and whatever you see on this commercial was all I was pretty much willing to show. That's probably the best I can do on that. But I would like to be able to do that, but I'd be kind of giving away more than what I want to. You know what I mean? So, all right, here we go. And again, that didn't work. And again, that's not working. All right, you're not gonna see. Why? Why isn't this? I think it has something to do with the updates. I do. I think it has something to do with the updates because this works fine. I test this stuff throughout the week, and then I get an update. I just got an update. Like, what's today? Tuesday. It had to have been yesterday. I got an update yesterday, and it just throws everything off. So, or at least that's the only thing I can think of. Renee says, Incredible Hulk, smash that like button. Yeah, smash the like button. Hulk like. PBR says, Prince of Darkness. Thank you, Renee, by the way. Thanks. PBR says, Prince of Darkness had one of the actors from Simon and Simon in it. Yeah, he was the main actor in it. Yep, the younger brother. I can't think of his name. Renee says, Batman smash that like button. Richard Cook says, Brian, did you like 30 Days of Night vampire movie from 2007? I did. I really thought that was a good one because it made you afraid of vampires again. Like there was, it felt like there was no getting out of there, or you're wondering like, how in the world are they going to escape this? And it had been, in my opinion, it was kind of a while before you felt like that trapped, you know, because obviously those people were stuck in an area where they couldn't get out to begin with, and now they're stuck with a you know, prolonged um, lapse of darkness, you know, and so I did like that movie because it just made you think like, wow, these vampires are. I like seeing movies where the vampires are monsters, you know, they're very monstrous, like Fright Night, you know. Of course, you know, there is the seducing aspect of it, you know, the um, moth to the flame concept, you know, they're luring them in. Uh, but then he's a very ugly, you see, you know, the true self of the vampire is very ugly, very grotesque and monstrous. And the Lost Boys, I do like the Lost Boys. Um, but yeah, and Salem's Lot. You guys brought that up earlier, Salem's Lot. I like to see um, a vampire as a monster, you know, not so much. And I get it, I get it. You know, I like the Bella Lugosi, you know, playing the vampire Dracula and all that. But man, I like seeing the monstrous, just savage vampires. Um, Renee says Invaders 1950 X-Files starring David Vincent as Fox Mulder. Invaders 1950 X-Files starring David Vincent as Fox Mulder. Is that a new series? I hadn't heard of that one. Joe DeQ says, wasn't Roy Thinnes in Invaders, Renee? Richard says, I'll wait to see your commercial. Apparently so will I. I don't know why that isn't working. Why? Yeah, that's crazy. I'm going to try it again real quick.
Chiller Night Escape Experience presents Zombie Outbreak Escape Room. You and your team of scientists are sent to inspect a top-secret laboratory in a hidden military bunker. Sinister experiments have resulted in reanimating the dead. The facility is now swarming with the living dead, and you have 1 hour to escape or be overrun by zombies. Can you survive a zombie outbreak? Book your escape room appointment to find out. Book online at ChillerNight.com or call 814-209-8214. Gift certificates available at the store counter.
It worked. It worked. The third time's a charm, apparently. Tom says, re-import the file. Probably lost the link. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I don't know. It's just stuff that happens on my end for some reason. PBR says, my favorite would be the Whisper in Darkness from H.P. Lovecraft Society. Oh, yeah? Joe Exposed says, Horror of Dracula. Okay. House on Haunted Hill and The Devil Rides Out. 2 of the 3 are Hammer films. Yeah. Good picks. Joe DeQ says, Brian, wasn't Jack Palance in a vampire movie as Dracula? Yes, he was. Back in... I'm thinking, of course, my years are not been lining up tonight for some reason. I'm thinking, and I'm going to guess 1974, maybe. Somebody could check. But yeah, he played Dracula. Yeah, there's a version of Jack Palance playing Dracula. He has that good look for a vampire, doesn't he? PBR says, anyone see the Penny Dreadful series? Very, very good. I have not seen it. I've heard of it, but I've not seen it. SBC says, my favorite horror movie. It's hard to say. I just like too many movies. I know, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. At least I narrowed mine down to at least 3. I threw a 4th one in there, but I gave a good solid 3. Pretty happy about that. Fright Night rocked, Richard Cook says, yeah. PBR Street Gang says, my last name is Brewster, so of course I love Fright Night. Brewster, you're so cool. Scanners, Renee says. Victor says, Frenzy and Psycho scared me stupid as a kid. Yeah, Psycho really did that shower scene when I was a kid watching that. Um, that was kind of alarming as a kid because I think just even to the adults who were watching it at the time, not only was it brutal, but it was very unexpected. You know, you see Janet Leigh as the main. You're looking at her as the main character of the movie, and she gets off, before halfway through the movie. Uh, that was strange, and we saw kind of a comparison around the same era, not too far away, but City of the Dead Horror Hotel, when they did the same thing. You know, they took that female character who apparently you're thinking that's the lead character of the movie, and kill her off. Um, not too far into the movie. Autumn says like the Lost Boys also. Yeah, I like that one. Underworld, Renee says, yeah. The feud between the werewolves and the vampires. PBR says The Last Man on Earth, starring Vincent Price, is outstanding too. Yeah, that is the movie. Now, Chilly Billy Bill Cardell told me this because he was very good friends with George Romero, of course, who made the Night of the Living Dead and the Dead series movies. Um, but he said, George actually told him that they were watching The Last Man on Earth with Vincent Price. He and a bunch of his college friends in the day room or something, and they were watching that, and that's where he said, I bet I could do a better movie than that. And but you can see the inspiration from The Last Man on Earth to Night of the Living Dead, and that's pretty cool. And when I was talking to John Russo, he said, John says that he came up with the idea of the zombies because he said George Romero's idea was kind of vague. In a way, maybe like The Last Man on Earth. They're not zombies, they're not vampires, but they have qualities of both. But what exactly are they? John Russo told me that George Romero was actually it was going to be aliens, at first, and then he's the one who came up with the idea for them being zombies. So I don't know. Maybe George would have a different story. I don't know, but that's what he told me. So, but yeah, Renee says no old TV series. The Invaders is like the X Files, and the main character protagonist David Vincent is like the Cogney Fox Mulder. Oh, is like him. Okay, is okay in the 50s. Gotcha. Richard said I had a teacher in high school who was really into vampires, and he and his friends would go to old house in our county, really looking for them. Really. And he was a teacher. Okay, that's different. Um, I assume he didn't find any. I can only assume. Renee says killer escape room commercial. Thank you, Renee. Appreciate it. And always, I gotta give credit to Tom for the voice. He came up with that voice. I like that voice. And he said it, and I after hearing it, he said it had that a little bit of a Rod Serling sound to it, and it does. I think it sounds pretty cool. John says yes. Roy Fiennes did star in the Invaders as David Vincent. Richard Cook says Jack Palance was very creepy Dracula. Yeah, I've seen part of the movie. I might have seen it. It might have been a made for TV movie. I don't remember that part. I know I've seen it as a kid, and I don't know where I saw it. I don't have a whole lot of memory about it, and I haven't seen it. I have not watched it in my teenager or adult years. I just know that there is a movie that exists with him in it, and I've seen reference to it on the internet. I come across this stuff, but I've not seen that since I was a little kid. I don't remember much about it. Renee says Dreamscape, Life Force. Yeah, those are some. Hellraiser. Okay. Richard says Jeepers Creepers is pretty scary. Yeah, I like the first one. I thought the first one was Jeepers Creepers, like you said there. I thought that first one was pretty good there. Um, Renee says Video Drone. Phantasm, Richard says. That was a weird one, wasn't it? The Fog is really scary, SBC says. Yeah. Jody Q says PBR. Last Man was the best adaptation of I Am Legend, right, by Richard Matheson. Vincent Price nailed it. Yeah. Renee says Nightbreed. Route 666. Beyond the Door. Evil Speak. Renee's just giving all kinds of them. Yeah. Hellboy Golden Army. Yeah, that was a neat one. Yeah. I did like that one. I like both the Hellboy movies. Oh, hey, let me put the schedule up and then we'll jump back to these. This Saturday, February 25th, on Stream TV, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. The movie is The Brain That Wouldn't Die. You see what I did there? You like that? There's kind of an overlay thing going on there. 10:45, Terror Creatures from the Grave. And then at 12:40, the movie's Indestructible Man. And to finish off the night, well, the morning, I guess you could say, or start the morning, 2:15 in the morning, The Devil Bat. So there it is. You can go there and watch that this Saturday, the 25th at 9 o'clock at streammedia.tv. Let's see here. I might have to scoot up here a little bit. John says, you have been watching ChillerNight Live with Brian Hogue. This is Krozak the Grand reminding you, as the great creature feature host Bob Wilkins always said, watch horror movies and keep America strong. Until next Tuesday night, stay chilled and keep thrilled. Yes. And again, I hope you had a good, happy birthday. And about next Tuesday night, I want to remind you, unfortunately, next Tuesday night, I won't be able to do the show. I won't be available during the time of the programming. So, but there will be, of course, every Saturday night. Chiller Night Theater is still going to go on. I'll be back the Tuesday after that, but I won't be here next Tuesday, unfortunately. Oh wow, you guys are listing a lot of movies. Night Gallery is good. Richard says, yeah, I love that one. Yeah. Jody Q says, looking so forward to a road trip to Pennsylvania in October. Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think you'll have a good time. I think you'll like it. Jeff says Drew Barrymore getting off in the first 15 minutes of Scream was a tip of the hat to Psycho. Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah. PBR says Exorcist scared the crap out of me. Yeah, it did a lot of people. There's Jack. Thanks, Brian. Later chat, PBR says. Well, thank you. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you, everybody. It's 9 o'clock, so thank you for joining me and each other here for another week of Chiller Night Live. Tom says, see you guys in 2 weeks. Yes. Then, yes, 2 weeks, I'll be back. Not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after that. But keep watching Chiller Night Theater on Saturday nights. It will be there. So check it out. Have a good night, folks. Have a good Chiller Night, and we'll see you the Tuesday after next. All right, see ya.